Okay.
Why is your wine getting all the hair? I'm not getting any hair on mine.
2, 1. Hello, folks. Welcome to episode 3's recap of Game of Thrones.
And Walter scratching.
Our cat is scratching up his post. This is the episode 3 recap of season 7 of Game of Thrones. For all of you who have been following us through the first two, which isn't really that many, I think we had like 20 views on our first video and like 43 on our second. So if you haven't watched those, check them out. You can check out the playlist right here. Right there. Check it out. So yes, we're behind on these things.
I was out of town for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I was in Kentucky where the internet was really, really awful and I couldn't even stream it on my computer.
So we are 2 episodes behind. If you're watching this before the end of season 7, just know that some of the things that you're going to hear are likely not spoilers for you anymore. But just be warned, we are talking about things on the show, so these are possibly spoilers.
Yes, that's true.
All right, so we're going to start off with the recap. If you've seen the other ones, you know that we just go into warp speed on this recap because they can be a little long. One of the two of us does the recap, the other one does a challenge and sees how long they can do it the entire time. So my challenge for today is to plank right behind us on this couch while Meghan does a recap.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready, set, go.
So this is episode 3, like Chris said, and some of the big things that happened this week is that Dany and Jon finally met. Okay. Dany and Jon finally met. They're finally together. He would not bend the knee, but the conclusion was good, and she said that he could mine dragon glass after she had gotten some advice from Tyrion and some other folks that are her advisors, going ahead and giving him this win because it will likely result in him being more likely to bend the knee and give her more power. So that was a big piece that happened. And then the other theme of this episode really was poison. We've learned a lot about different pieces of history and that sort of thing, or other people in the show learned, but basically the Queen of Dorne was captured, brought to King's Landing by Euron, and Cersei was super happy to finally see her and to bring wrath on her for poisoning her daughter. And so in order to do that, your noises are distracting. In order to do that, she was basically an eye for an eye with them. So she went into the dungeon where they were holding the Queen of Dorne and her daughter, gave them some really scary, epic conversation and talk as to why they had done that to her daughter. She was innocent and hadn't done anything. And then she kissed the Queen of Dorne's daughter, whose lips were pink. And I noticed when she was first down there talking to them, I was like, why are Cersei's lips so pink? She never wears that shade of lipstick, if ever wearing lipstick. And then she ended up kissing the daughter and and it was covered in poison. She took the antidote and then basically said, you're going to be in here, make sure that the Queen of Dorne is fed so she can watch her daughter rot. And so that was crazy. The other piece of poison was when the King's Landing army basically took over High Garden, and took all of their money because they owed money to the Bank of Westeros or whatever it's called. And so at the end of the episode, Jaime is there to talking to Lady Olenna and basically was like, Cersei wanted you to die. And Cersei wanted you to die a bad death, but I don't think you deserve that. So he just put some poison in her wine and handed it to her, and she took the poison, and that's how she died. But as she was dying, she said, you thought your brother poisoned Joffrey, but it was actually me. And she was like, we had never tested that poison before, and it was pretty nasty the way that he died, and I hope that this isn't that same kind of poison, basically, is what she was saying. So that was news to Jaime that Tyrion hadn't killed his brother or killed his son, and that it was in fact Lady Olenna and the people at High Garden. And so that was really interesting. Another piece of the puzzle that was kind of cool that happened here was that Sam officially saved Jorah and was able to remove all of his grayscale. Jorah is going back to be with the woman that he loves, Dany, and Sam is back to going through moldy, mite-infested scrolls and taking care of that. So, and like rewriting all of those. But he was able to save Jorah, so that was super exciting. And then last but not least, the Unsullied were able to take over Casterly Rock. But unfortunately, Greyworm was like, this was really easy. I was expecting more people to be part of this. And in fact, as he looked over the tower after they had taken over Casterly Rock, he saw Euron's whole fleet coming that way and was like, oh crap, we're probably gonna die. And so the episode ended with Lady Olenna, expressing the fact that she had killed Joffrey, and then it just kind of ended, and we assumed that she died. So it was pretty. Lots of stuff happened, but it was a lot more conversation infused this time, so it was a good episode. And
I think that's the summary of the major points. Chris, I'm done.
Oh.
I'm proud of your planking skills. That looks hard. Your eyes are watery.
All right, so that leads us into our very first segment, which is awards.
Okay, so the awards, just to remind you, we give away most badass, most likely to die, all the feels, and the biggest twist.
Yes.
So our first one is most badass, and Chris, you have been doing a lot of talking, so who
Sure.
gets this award?
We're going to give the most badass award for this week to Lady Olenna, the Lady of Highgarden, and that's because not only has she always been a really, really great character, and it's really sad to see her go, but we just loved her attitude, her character's attitude, as Highgarden fell. Jaime comes walking into the room after they kind of taken the castle and killed everybody, and her first words are, "Did we fight well?" Which is, or did they do well? Which is like an awesome thing to ask about her entire castle. And when Jaime is like, well, they did well enough. Her response was, oh, well, we were never really known for fighting. The Night of the Flowers and all. Like, she was totally making fun of herself and all of her community, which was really fun. And she totally, like Meghan said in her recap, she knew that she was about to die. She was thankful when Jaime decided to give her a poison that was just going to knock her out and not hurt her, which is really great. And after she drank the poison, she used that moment with her dying breaths, essentially tell Jaime that it was me that killed your son. But even more fun than that was, she was prodding him and essentially telling him like, hey, look, now's a good opportunity for you to get some things off your chest that you haven't been able to tell anybody else because you're literally about to kill me. So you could sit down here and just talk to me about, how unhappy you are with what's going on at King's Landing, because I'm going to die anyway, so you might as well get it off your chest. She knew it was coming for her, and she just owned it. When Jaime wouldn't do any of that stuff and just gave her the poison, she drank it, and she left, or he left, and she was just there waiting to die. She was kind of cool. Our next one, speaking of dying, is the most likely person to die. Meghan, take it away.
Do we believe that the most person likely to die?
The most person.
The person most likely to die is still Greyworm. We mentioned him last week. They did successfully take over Casterly Rock. However, like I said in the recap, they see the whole fleet of Euron's army or ships and everything, and obviously the fighting is not over yet. And so we really do feel like a lot of the Unsullied will fall in the upcoming episodes, and Greyworm will be one of those.
That's really
unfortunately.
Sad. Really sad. And it's like we touched on in, I think, 2 episodes ago, if not the last one, and check out right here for the playlist of these videos. But we mentioned how they're building up his kind of storyline by finally having him and Missandei start to have the last episode. Mm-hmm. By him and Missandei start to have a little bit more of a relationship, and that's a pretty surefire way of showing that somebody's going to die pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. Sex equals death in the Game of Thrones.
Sure does.
So our next award is All the Feels. Again, just to recap, All the Feels can be, a really sad moment. It can be a really happy moment. Just something that made us feel strong, feel the most feelings in the episode.
This one was the Queen of Dorne. She had been captured by Euron Greyjoy and brought back to King's Landing, where she was presented along with her daughter to Cersei as kind of like a wedding gift, more or less. they were sent to the prisons, the Queen of Dorne and her daughter, where they were then chained against the wall, and as Meghan said in her recap, the daughter was given the kiss of death, where she was essentially
Way to
left.
say it. I didn't say it that nicely.
She was essentially given the kiss of death, where she was going to be left to rot in that cell, and the Queen of Dorne was going to be left. Did you get a hair in there?
Mm-hmm.
First cat hair in the wine. The Queen of Dorne was going to be left in that cell with her daughter. So not only would she watch her daughter die. Did you just eat the hair?
No, I didn't get it out with my finger.
Oh. So not only would she watch her daughter die, but she'd also then watch her daughter decompose across the cell from her. And Cersei went so far as to tell the guards that they had to change the tortures every few hours. That way she would never miss a thing. Whew. That was sad. And they left us when Cersei and all the rest of them kind of left the chamber. The kind of dungeon, they show us the two women kind of straining against the chains to get as close to each other as possible to almost like say their goodbyes, and they could get probably just inches apart from each other and no further. So
That was really sad.
very sad.
I just cried.
Horrible. The biggest twist. Now, biggest twist is if you've watched our shows before, this is a new one. We had it in the last one of these Game of Thrones episodes. Biggest twist is around a character. What's the biggest character twist that we didn't see coming? Who is that person?
Well,
Or people?
I paused because this time around it's the Unsullied Army, because of what we had talked about. They had done this battle and Greyworm, fought in this battle at Casterly Rock and were successful in murdering the people and taking it over. However, Greyjoy was like, Greyworm, was like, this was a little too easy. Something isn't quite right. And they kind of look over the walls of the castle at Casterly Rock, and they see all of Euron's fleet coming toward them, and just these like crazy armies, and they were like, oh, we were right. And so that was just kind of, I wasn't expecting to see that. I wasn't expecting them to win so easily, so I felt like something was up, but I wasn't expecting them to see that so quickly, and so we felt like that was kind of the biggest twist in this particular episode.
Yeah, absolutely so. What did you think the biggest twist was? Be sure to leave us a comment in the comments below. That's one of the things we love about Game of Thrones, is there's always something new that we didn't see it coming, and various people have different thoughts on what those things are. So let us know what your biggest twist was below.
Yeah. Two thumbs up.
Two thumbs up.
And two thumbs down.
Our
The
next segment
is
up votes, down
votes.
Almost it was scary. Way down there. So in this segment, we give you one thing that we loved about this episode paired with one thing we didn't like this episode, and then we do it all over again. So we get two good things, two bad things. These could be things about the story, things about the writing, things about the production, anything.
Anything goes.
But we only get 4. All right, take it away with our first thumbs up.
Our first thumbs up is Sansa. Specifically, Sansa kind of taking control. So as you remember in this episode, this is kind of the first that we see her in charge now that Jon is off in Dragonstone getting the help of Dany. So Sansa is in charge of Winterfell in the north at this point, and she is just working it.
Yeah.
I mean, we see her kind of walking around Winterfell, and she, they're having some food issues and some grain issues, and she has this great idea about how to get all the grain in Winterfell because if something happens in some of the other smaller areas in the north, then they're going to all flee to Winterfell, and they need to have enough food to take care of all of the north at Winterfell as battles start to happen and the White Walkers start to come and all of this sort of thing. So she was planning and scheming and plotting how to get more food there, but also how to take care of everyone else and return their food if that doesn't happen. And then as they're continuing to have this conversation and walk around Winterfell, she's seeing that as they're making the armor and the chest pieces and the different armor for their army. They're not putting leather on the inside of it, and it's just getting colder and colder and colder. And so she is like, why are they putting leather in that? And they're like, that's a really good question. And so they're like, we'll get on to that, or we'll get on that. And so it's just really cool to see her, being very strategic and being able to very effectively lead.
Yeah.
So we give a big thumbs up to Sansa for finally getting that opportunity and doing it well.
That was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Our first thumbs down actually goes to Jon over in Dragonstone. So Jon went to Dragonstone to go talk to Daenerys Targaryen about hoping to be able to mine the dragon glass. He shows up there, and Daenerys she's doing a great job of being good old-fashioned Dany. As you saw in our last video when we were talking about this, we were afraid that she was going to echo a little bit more of Cersei Lannister in terms of just being like, he will have to kneel to me, just demanding more. And not being her normal kind of accepting self as we've seen in the past. She's been that way more and more frequently, and we were afraid she was going to be like that now. She was the opposite. When Jon arrived at Dragonstone, she was so relatable and so kind and so sweet, and she was firm. She was a great queen, but she threw him off with some of the things that she said of like please don't blame the daughter for the sins of the fathers, which
is what he had just done to
exactly what he just did.
Some of the people in the north. He didn't blame them for the sins of
That's a really
fathers.
good point. Yeah. She did some great things to right off the bat establish that like she's not like other rulers, and she's not like the other Targaryens, and she's somebody that may be trusted. Throughout all of it, though, Jon, and this is a thumbs down for Jon, a downvote for Jon, is he just sucks at diplomacy. I mean, we were commenting earlier that as the show goes on, the Stark boys keep becoming more and more like their father, more and more like Ned. Then we see Jon, who's just like singularly focused on one thing, and that's it. And that one thing is like defeating the White Walkers. Then he's not able to discuss any other plans, any other relationships, any other anything really, other than, no, I'm not going to bend to you. You need to give me Dragonglass and help me go defeat this army in the north, and then we can talk about everything else. And of course, as Tyrion points out later on in that episode, I think it was that episode 3. As Tyrion points out later on in that episode, like, hey, you're kind of asking for a lot here, man. Just realize what you're asking for. So yeah. Jon lost some really good opportunities there by being a terrible diplomat. Thankfully, because Daenerys is a really, really good leader, it seems to be working out for the best. But downvote to Jon.
So our next thumbs up is Sam. We mentioned this a little bit in the recap, but Sam was able to remove all of the grayscale from Jorah, and Jorah was able to live. And so in this episode, we see all this grayscale removed, and one of the Meisters examining Jorah and just kind of making sure that the disease is no longer there, and he confirmed that there was no longer any grayscale. And the Meister asks Sam if he's ever done this before and how he learned, how he did this. And Sam goes, well, I just read the directions in the book. And it was just really
That's
funny
awesome.
the way he said that. But just kudos to Sam for continuing to kind of push the boundaries, things that he kind of learned from Jon, I feel, and to do what is right. And that was to save the life of Jorah. And he kind of explains that, your father saved my life a few times when we were up at the wall, and it's the least I could do. So it was really cool to see Sam. And even after all of that, they put him back, going through the old rotting scrolls that have paper mites on them that also can bite people, and he kind of rolls his eyes and is like, ugh, I was hoping to get more recognition after doing this, but he just goes and he does it because he's Sam.
He's a great guy.
And so we wanted to give him a thumbs up for saving Jorah and being able to remove grayscale.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. The second thumbs down that we've got is for Bran. Bummer Bran. Now, look, I wouldn't necessarily say that Bran had been fun since he fell out of the tower and busted up his legs. I don't think he's been fun ever since then. But but ever since he became the Raven, he's been continuously kind of losing sense of himself, which is you know, I guess it is what it is. Like, he probably has bigger fish to fry. But we were talking about this earlier. I feel like it'd be one thing if Bran was able to see into the future. If he could see into the future, he could be a whole lot more. And maybe he can. So let me phrase it this way. The more we talked about this, the less we could remember if he could only see the present and the past. We're pretty certain he can only see the present and the past and not the future. If we're wrong, please let us know in the comments below and help us remember the full story, because if he's able to only see the present and the past, then it seems like he'd be a really empathetic person. Like, it seems like he'd be the kind of person that's just like, oh my God, I understand everything you've gone through. Like, I see you, you know, and like be really warm and empathetic and all-knowing. Instead of just kind of like the cold, removed, like pulling things and phrases and memories out of people's past and just dropping them into like sentences as if it was nothing. Like, he's just like become a huge bummer at this point in time. And
especially, I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
I was gonna say, especially when he was talking to Sansa. I mean, he finally made it to Winterfell. He's finally seeing his sister for the first time in forever, and he's seen what she's gone through. Yeah. And all he can talk about is like, I've seen what you've gone through, but not in like an empathetic way. And he reminds her of her wedding day and her marriage to Ramsay. And it was really
and it like
depressing,
rocked her.
and it really rocked her. And she, yeah, exactly. And so it's like he's doing these things. And that wasn't. I mean, I could get it if it was an enemy and somebody you wanted to rattle, but this was his sister and they were just trying to like spend some time together. And so it's just, I don't know. It's annoying.
I don't know if that's just bad writing or just I feel like that's bad writing. I mean, that doesn't seem to just be taking into account the way that a human would theoretically work. You know what I mean?
Unless it's not he's like turning into this raven, which isn't really a human anymore, and it's kind of taking away part of his
I mean, if he is literally just there from now on to catalog and just like be a librarian of everything that happens in the world, then fine. But I don't know. I mean, it just seems like it seems like a really weird character move, and more than anything, he's just a huge bummer.
And shouldn't he just be at like with all the Meisters if that's really his job?
Yeah, that's true. Actually, he'd be a huge help if that were the case. If they could just recognize the fact that's who he was, that would be the place for him to be.
Right.
That would save them so much time. That's the end of our upvotes, downvotes segment. That leaves only one more segment in this episode, and that segment is Predictions. As you might guess, in this segment, we're going to share our predictions for what's going to happen in this season and the seasons beyond. Now,
the seasons beyond.
We're going to more or less build on predictions we made in the first 2 episodes.
Because if you watched those, you know we went on and on about our predictions.
We really did. There's a reason why those are like an hour long a piece. We're going to try to keep these ones under. But Meghan, take away our predictions and how I feel about them now.
So a couple of our predictions in the first couple of episodes was, of course, Jon and Dany. And part of that is correct. They're finally together. They didn't kill each other. We both thought that they were the kinds of people that would be able to work together and, you know, save the world from multiple evils, both White Walkers and Cersei. And it seems to be proving true that they are able to work together now. Of course, they don't know their relationship yet and how their families are connected and who they really truly are. Jon doesn't even know who he really truly is at this point. So we still feel like that's going to come up, that's going to come out, and that potentially they could end up maybe married or somehow very closely connected with each other, ruling the world after they kill the White Walkers.
Our other prediction that we still feel like is going to happen, but we didn't really see that much build to it, is that the White Walkers are going to have some way of crossing over the wall. There's still been a magic there that's like held them away for forever. So what's going to be the thing that changes that magic? At the end of the Season 7 Episode 2 recap, which you can find up here in the corner underneath this little eye thing that's popping out right now, we touch on this article that we read on BuzzFeed that shows the water freezing on the other side of the wall, and there's a possibility of the dead kind of marching around that. Now, frankly, we don't really know how the dead are going to come around, but we still are certain that they're going to cross the wall, and we think it's going to be something like that.
And sometime soon.
And sometime very soon. So if you haven't seen that yet, go catch the end of that video, or I'll also link up in the comments below where that segment starts in the video, so you can just go click the link in the comments below to watch exactly that section. All right, folks. Well, thanks so much for joining us for this episode. Yes, we are behind. Yes, we are just about to film the next episode wearing the exact same clothes as we're wearing right now. So if you want to watch that, keep an eye out for it. It'll literally be right after this one. And that'll be about it. Now, a couple quick things to kind of close this off, and we'll touch on this in the next one too, and probably all of them from here. This is a short season. There's only 7 episodes in this season. So we are 4 episodes into it. We're about to watch the 5th one tonight because it's Sunday night as we're recording this. So we're going to watch the 5th one when we finish this video recording, which only leaves 2 more to go. Because this is a really, really short season, I know it doesn't give you that much time to get involved in this thing. But Meghan and I started this channel because we really wanted to try to do the whole like vlogging, YouTubing thing, and we realized pretty quickly that what we really enjoy doing is just talking about the kind of media that we like, which is television, for the most part.
Yeah,
And this has been a lot
go
of
to the
fun.
movies that often. So
We really don't. No.
So much good television these days.
And we love talking about it. I mean, we do this stuff on the side anyways. We do this stuff with our friends, and this is just an opportunity to do it with you. And so, Game of Thrones has been one that we got into a little bit late. We weren't really prepared for it, but we want to know what
Not the show,
other
but the videos.
The videos. We want to know what other shows do you watch that you would like to see us do this kind of thing on and share our thoughts on and talk about also. Please let us know that in the comments below, and let us know what else we should talk about. I mean, chances are we're probably already watching it, or we're willing to watch it and make videos about it, because we really love doing these teardowns and talking about them episodically. It's a lot of fun.
And one of the, just a little hint as to one we know for sure that we'll be doing later on this year is The Walking Dead.
Yes, we're huge Walking Dead fans. We started this whole thing with The Bachelorette, but we also know that many people don't love The Bachelorette.
As you can tell, we have a breadth of TV shows that we like to watch.
Yeah, we'll watch mostly anything. So let us know in the comments below if there's something you want to see us take on next, and we'd be happy to look into that thing. Finally, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, give it a like, give it a subscription. Maybe share it with your friends that are also Game of Thrones fans. We love getting other people's opinions on the same shows that we're watching and learning from what you're seeing in the show and bouncing it out against what we're seeing in the show, and try to tear down what we're watching. It's a whole lot of fun.
It is.
So be sure to like, subscribe, and all those nice things.
Thanks for watching.
You ready?
Yeah.
Goodbye,
Goodbye, folks.